Live from the mist-enshrouded mountaintop fortress that is X and Y Communications headquarters, you're listening to the world-famous Mountaintop Podcast. And now, here's your host, Scott McKay.
All right, gentlemen, this is your main man, Scott McKay, coming at you again with another episode of the Mountaintop Podcast. But it's not just another episode of the Mountaintop Podcast. First of all, we got a great topic today, which is what is wrong with men and women nowadays? And that's going to go in all sorts of crazy directions. But it's also not your garden variety episode. I mean, which one is? But today's is extra special because it so happens to be the 500th episode of the Mountaintop Podcast, a.k.a. the Chick Whisperer podcast from way back in the day. Since 2007, we've done 500 main episodes up to well over 100 on the snippets from the summit. And I want to thank you guys, especially you guys who have been there since the beginning. And sure enough, you guys who just found the show. Without you, there isn't a show. And I'm just proud of all you guys out there who want to be better men, getting better women. So it's time we hit this topic with a big, heavy hammer. Now, 500 is a big number. It's not just 100 or 300 or anything like that. I mean, it's half 1,000, and that's significant. And the first guy I thought of to have on as a guest for this show is actually a guy, if you go far back enough, who co-hosted the Chick Whisperer with me for the first 10 episodes back in 2007 in the original format. And it'd been way too long since, as he would say, we chopped up game together.
Yes.
He's still at it. I'm still at it. We're a couple of OGs, and the O stands for old at this point. In the men's dating advice space, still trying to make heads or tails of how to relate to women and do a great job. Steve the Dean Williams, how are you doing, man?
Well, first off, congratulations on your 500, man. I mean,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think you're about 50,000 at this point.
Yeah.
You're prolific.
Yeah. Well, we've been kicking it. I mean, we've been doing it way even before 2007. So, I mean, we've been doing
06 for X and Y on the fly for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been a long, long time, man. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I want to say this. The podcasting world was so tight-knit back in 2006 that I was a consumer of the podcast, especially in the niche that I was working in. And one day, I got a phone call. It's about 10:30 in the morning. And I answer it. And, hey, is this Scott McKay? Yeah, I said, yeah. And he said, yeah, from X and Y on the fly. I said, yeah. And he said, well, this is Steve Williams. And I said, the motherfucking Dean. And you just started laughing, right? Because hell yeah, that's who you were. I already knew who you were. You already knew who I was. You called and wanted to collaborate.
Yes, yes.
And it went from there. I'll never forget that morning because hell yeah, I knew who you were. And you were like, wow, kind of surprised.
Appreciate it.
But back then, you could sit at the top of the entire self-help category in North America on iTunes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not with a whole lot of effort.
Yeah.
I don't want to minimize the accomplishment, but back then, people were really just starting to listen and listen in numbers. And if you were there at the beginning, man, you got a magic carpet ride, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, like I say, we old school. We've been doing this thing for, I mean, remember MySpace, you know?
Yeah, MySpace. MySpace was really cool because you could make it move and have music. You could have like your rollout music.
Yeah.
I remember thinking Facebook was really boring when it started. It would never last.
Yeah. Look at it now.
I know. Crazy.
Everything's moving quickly.
Well, whenever you and I got together, first of all, it wasn't only just rock solid facts. You know, in terms of, y'all guys used to say, get your crayons out.
Yeah, get your crayons out. Yes.
Get your crayons out, gentlemen. Yeah. And you should take notes because we were going to spit straight facts.
Yes, absolutely.
And second of all, it's always funny. It was always humorous. How could it not be?
Yes, sir. It was always
talking
good.
About human nature. Yeah.
Yeah, it was always good because we talked about things that young men needed back then, and they still need it today. So still the same.
Even now they're 45 instead of 25.
Even though they're 45, but now we have a new batch of young men that need us more than ever. So, yeah. Yeah,
the world keeps turning. Actually, a lot has changed.
Yeah.
Since the time you and I started, there was no social media. There were no smartphone. I mean, there was not an iPhone 1 yet when you and I started.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
No Tinder.
No Tinder.
right?
No Instagram.
Certainly no OnlyFans,
No OnlyFans. Yeah.
right? Which I
Yeah.
want to get to, because I think that's definitely something that's wrong with women nowadays and men. But man, it just seems like we went through the whole toxic masculinity bit and the
Mhm.
Me Too movement, and
Yeah.
as if it weren't already bad enough with men being afraid of women.
Yes.
And women don't understand that. They're like, I'm just a girl. Then it became, I don't want to bother her because she don't want to hear from me anyway, because women
Yes.
can't stand men, to I'm not going to talk to her because it's dangerous out there. I could get arrested.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's up with all that, man? What happened to us?
Well, I don't think it's a thing of what happened to us. I think it was more of a thing of again, you gotta look, okay, so you and I, we come from this. I mean, we were we're not a part of, but we came through when the seduction community hit. You and I. I
Yeah.
mean, where there was double your dating and all these things that were. So these young men were trying to transition, and then all of a sudden, once I guess YouTube started to hit off, or you know, uh, people just pivoted to something else, and I think they went away from manhood, and they just and they just started looking at problems, like issues, versus you and I, we teach we teach mindset, and you can't learn yourself when all you're doing is complaining. And I don't want to say people complain because I don't want to piss anyone off, but I would say
They do though.
well, what they do, but it's that it seems like they want to be heard, but nobody's listening. So then they get frustrated because they're saying, you know what, I want to be heard. I need someone to hear me, but women don't want to hear you, and then sometimes they have problems themselves, with women, dating, relationships, issues. They have, I mean, it's different. It's kinds of for us, again, Scott, for us, we're different because we came from a time where there were payphones. I always say we come from the 1900s when everything was black and white. We had to go up to women. We had to talk to women. There were payphones. You remember pen pals and all that other stuff, Blockbuster, you remember all that good stuff. So these young men, they don't have that anymore. They have a microwave mentality because, I don't even have my phone with me. Here's my phone. Everything they have is on their phone. For us, if we wanted to go to get a video, we would go to Circuit City. If we wanted supplies, we would go to an auto mechanic store, a supply store. All these young men have everything on their phone. I mean, everything that we had to search for, they have just access on their phone so they can just get it. I mean, if I'm hungry, DoorDash. If I want to forget about taxi cabs, Uber, Lyft, So these young men have a different perspective of the world. And because of that perspective, they assume that dating is hard. You know what I mean? They think relationships are hard. I mean, look at you. You've been married for a long, congratulations. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I know this is going to be a little bit a week later, but this is anniversary. Shout out to my boy. Congratulations on that. But a lot of young
20
men,
years today. I met
20
him.
years. Shout out to you. But they don't understand that relationships aren't hard. What's hard is being careful of who we listen to. It's information because, you remember there was a time on the internet when it first started for us. If it was on the internet, it was true. If it's on the internet, it's real. That's what we used to think.
Wikipedia was trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly. And everything on the internet is not good information because it ties in to a certain part of a victimhood of a lot of young men who feel like, you know what? Again, nobody's listening to me. The world is hard. The world is tough. It's not that case.
Yeah, man. So much just solid gold in everything you just said. You can watch these classic TV shows. I say classic because they're like from the year 2000, right?
No Netflix.
If you see a 2000 car, you must be at a car show nowadays.
Yeah.
You watch shows like The Wire.
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah.
And my daughter will come in and go, why are they on phones like in their neighborhood? Can't they just like pick up their cell phone and call people? I mean, they don't even know what a payphone is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my wife and I will even look at each other and go, man, it just must be really rough having to break a burner every time you want to run something out there. But, without payphones, it's a lot easier to do your organized crime in your neighborhood anymore.
Yes.
But I mean, it's such a throwback now to even see a payphone. You talked about the DoorDash culture. These mofos out there don't ever go to the bank or the post office anymore. God, no. That's like so 1995. Now they don't even go to the grocery store. They don't even go pick up something to eat. It comes right to their house. They sit on their couch all day playing video games or on their huge screen TV watching someone else have an adventure somewhere. And they wonder why they're not meeting any women.
Right.
What the heck's wrong with these guys? And then, like you said, brilliantly, and I've echoed this before on the show, as flawed as the pickup artist community was, and we could say, what the heck's wrong with men for even coming up with that whole thing for 6 or 8 years or however long it lasted, but it went from dating coaches or dating experts actually giving solid, actionable advice you could use to get better with women to, I'm just going to piss you off so hard that you stay addicted, or I'm going to feed your disease of not standing the bitches so much that you stay addicted. And I'll just, hey, guess what? I'll just live off, I'll live off the ad revenue on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's not advice. That's not coaching. That's poisonous. But people don't care anymore. It just seems like a lot of that in general. You see that with the media. They'll give these inflamed headlines that divide people, black, white, male, female, it doesn't matter. Nowadays, politics is the religion, and I don't want to get into it, but I mean, what they'll do is they'll give you a headline that's designed to piss you off, and, the real actual information, if there is any, is behind a paywall. And, of course, all this does is keep you addicted to your smartphone.
Right.
As we're recording this, the number one headline on both CNN and Fox, who are at odds with each other, is freaking Bad Bunny's halftime performance at a football game.
Right.
Who cares? I had someone on Facebook and they said, if you don't care about Bad Bunny's halftime performance, then there's something wrong with you. You need to head check your morals. I go, no, there's something wrong with you if you don't have anything better to do on a Wednesday, but talk about a halftime entertainment piece on Sunday. But what happens is we get told what to believe. We get told what to think's important. And it rarely is. All it does is drive someone else's revenue or someone else's likes or their viewers. And it's messed up. And it's keeping us from going out in the real world and actually hanging out with each other, men and women.
It's like an indoctrination for a lot of these young men. They've never had, again, if you noticed, okay, one thing about us, like we say, we're OGs. So if people understand is that the real one's always going to stay to the top because they're never going to sway. I mean, that's our wheelhouse. We teach men. So we have been through everything: seduction, pickup, red pill, manosphere, going your own way, looks maxing, drizzle, riz, 100 men versus a bunny rabbit, and whatever they come up with next. We've been through it all. And if you notice, everybody who has come, they've gone. I mean, if you look at all the seduction people, they're gone. They've pivoted somewhere
Usually
else.
Married with kids.
Oh, yeah, or married with kids. Right. The ones that say, you can't get married, I can't get married, or don't get married, they're off now, married or something else. Now, if you notice now, the young ones that are teaching or complaining about women and stuff, now, like you're saying, they're going political because the thing is they're running out of content. And that's the thing about you and I. We can't run out of content because this is what we do. This is our wheelhouse. This is what we've from the moment we plugged in our 56K modem to our wall on our telephone, people, that's how old we are, to get AOL.com or Yahoo Chat or whatever.
You were on MP3.com.
Yeah, MP3.com. Yeah, oh yeah, MP3.com. Yeah, we have done it. Yeah, again, we have done it all, but we have never ever swayed from what we were doing. We've gone through all the times where again, we would go this way and, pickup would take off because, again, it gave young men a quick fix to a bigger problem, and so a lot of people gravitated toward that. But we, Scott, you and I, we kept it going, and then pickup fell off. We kept it going, and then the YouTube came and we kept it going. Then red pill comes in, we kept it going, and then be on your purpose, don't jerk off, and all these other things. So the thing is, these young men, they have to understand that the real ones are always going to keep going. Scott, you and I are going to keep going no matter what is around that corner in 2030 or 2035. We're going to keep it going because that's the thing about relationships. You have a great relationship with yourself. That's why you have a great relationship with your wife. I have a great relationship with myself. That's why I have a great relationship. Yeah, because see, I on the street, we call that married to the game. You see what I'm saying? a lot of young men don't realize that it's not about tricks and gimmicks, lies, manipulation, deceiving, deception, pickup lines, gimmicks, and all the other
Never
stuff.
has been.
Never, right. But for young men, because TV forces them, they indoctrinate them with women all the time. If you look at a soda ad, a drink ad, they always place a product placement. They'll place a woman there in that place. Now, Scott, I think you and I think we have been to several places where these people take advantage of young men. You know what I mean? They take advantage of their who they are. And again, Scott and I have been around a long time. There were places where we get invited to go to places where they have marketing strategies back then. And we talk about way back then where they were saying, okay, hey, look, we'll put a green screen up, Scott. We'll put a woman in a fake library and put a guy next to the woman and pretend they meet each other to get the guy to think that he's actually talking to the woman. And nowadays, what they're doing is they're walking around with hired models, going up to the women saying, hey, how you doing? And the woman like rubs their face and like, oh, wow, that's pickup. That's how you get women. No, that's how you talk to women. It's not even talking to women, because the thing is, no one talks about the cameraman that's like angled like to the side. I mean, no one really thinks it out. You know what I mean, Scott? And that's
there was another person there involved. How did we get this shot?
Right. But
nobody even thinks like that.
No one thinks about the shot or the express written consent. They don't think about that. You can't just walk up randomly and show somebody's likeness on the internet without their express written consent. And I think that's part of the problem. But see, young men, they want women. Sometimes they want, not even women, they want a relationship so bad because maybe they didn't have one with their father. Maybe they didn't want to have one with their parents, or maybe they were the ones in high school that was shunned from the world. So they're trying to look for their place in the world. And that's why, again, it's like a cult mentality. It's like, I'm at the head, so I'm going to indoctrinate you. They tell you like frames are seals and dolphins are ducks and this is that. And that's what confuses these young men, because they want women so bad and they want to be seen so bad that they don't understand what you and I are doing is we're showing you the essence and the core of who you are, so you can have an understanding of who you are in this world or in the reality that you're in, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, from the minute we got into this, deserve what you want was a foreign concept. It's like, no, man, I just need this. Give this to me. How do I trick this woman into spreading her legs? Meanwhile, the woman's like, how do I trick this guy into buying me stuff?
Right.
And handing over his credit card. And that has only gotten worse. We talk about transactional relationships all the time. I'm not so sure people actually want a relationship anymore. They just want stuff. So, if I get a chick, it's because I'm horny. But,
right.
You better be on birth control because I don't want to get pregnant. And if we get any STDs out of this, it's all your fault.
Yes.
Everything's everybody else's fault. Nobody has any agency. And like you said, eloquently, nobody has any character anymore. Now, so you can have good character, bad character. You can be a psychopath and think it's funny to hurt people.
Yeah.
And you can also have no character, which means you never got around to developing who the hell you are and what you believe. And then you wonder why women don't show up in your life and choose you when you choose them, because they don't even know who the hell you are because you don't know who the hell you are.
You know what, Scott? I was asking this on one of my live shows the other day. I was saying that, like, if you don't like yourself, how can you ask a woman to like you? If you don't love yourself, how can you ask for love? If you don't respect yourself, how can you ask for respect?
That's right.
And so many young men don't understand. You can't. I think one of the biggest problems that we have with young men today are I call three of the worst things: assuming, judging, and expectation. And if for some odd reason these young men feel like they deserve a woman versus realizing they need to learn how to deserve themselves, they're too busy caught up in believing in fear, rejection. They're too busy caught up in a quick gimmick. Or now listen, Scott, I will never knock a young man because I used to watch porn too, and I still watch porn. I'm 54 years old. I ain't gonna lie. I still watch it. I admit that. But what I'm saying is that life is not porn. A lot of young men feel like, okay, I don't know anything about you. Let's go back to my place. How you doing? My name is Fred. Can I send you a dick pic or your penis picture? How you doing? Can I see your body? And they think because they watch a lot of, because again, They grab their phone. They watch a lot of that stuff. And what it does to their mind is it indoctrinates them to think that just because a woman is wearing something scantily clad, that she's easy. Or a woman that has a nice purse on, that she is a gold digger. You know, they always are labeling these women versus taking the time to allow those women to move for them instead of them move for the YouTuber that, like you said, gets the clicks. You know, it's like a reaction. Okay, here's a woman that says, well, a man needs to take me to Red Lobster. Oh, see, I told you all the women in the world are bad.
We're setting the bar that high, huh? Red Lobster?
Yeah. Not Red Lobster. I mean, Ruth Chris. I'm sorry. Some kind of fancy restaurant where she's like, I need lobster or something. It was like, see, guys, I told you these women are bad. So what they're doing, Scott, is just the news. It's if they take a moment and look at the news, it's the same thing.
Bad news.
Yeah, it's bad news. Exactly. And that's where a lot of guys go wrong, man.
Man, again, you said so much. First of all, you're talking about if you can't like yourself, you know, how are you supposed to have women like you?
Yes.
A lot of men and women have just decided they can't stand the whole other gender. So women will come to me. This is nothing new. Women will come to us and go, all men are dogs. They only want one thing. They're all jerks. They're all going to cheat on you. Can you find me a nice husband? And the answer is no.
No.
I mean, not with that attitude.
Mm-mm.
And yet sometimes these women will be hot stuff, man. They'll be sexy as hell.
Right.
And they wonder why men want them for sex, then kick them to the curb.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, okay, you know, you look great.
No.
I'll get you naked, but I'm not going to marry you because you can't freaking stand men. So now men, instead of leading, instead of being the pace setters, we're followers and go, well, if women can't stand us, we're not going to stand them either. We're going to go our own way. And what do? They get preached to by the wrong person, by a false god. They become real inward, and they find an echo chamber of guys just like them. And even though they're the minority, they think that, oh, well, now I found 1,000 other guys. This is the way we all think, you know?
Yes.
And then they're going their own way. Men going their own way, right? Because all women are horrible. They're all, you know, they have these words they love, like solipsistic and hypergamous. And, you know, those are the buzzwords that, you know, you're in the in crowd when you use them. And I got those guys so riled up with a YouTube video one time, Steve, because I just simply said, look, if you're men going your own way, then go. Why are you still here? Why are you still talking about women all the time? I thought you went your own way. And then they started getting all angry with me because what happens is when guys are complainers, they turn into little bitches and they just want to really get angry and, you know, all emotional about it. And you're still just as obsessed with women, but now you've resigned yourself to not getting any of them and being angry and drowning in porn. And this is not how human beings were designed. I mean, Steve, you could look at a man and woman naked, watch them have sex, and realize quickly, biologically speaking, men and women are designed to be in partnership together. We're not designed to be enemies. So where did this all come from? How did we get to this place?
Well, we got to this place once. I think we got to this place where the internet. The problem with the internet, especially YouTube, is unfortunately there are more losers in the world than winners. And YouTube gave access to individuals to complain to people who love to complain more than solve things. So it's more complaining. It's more that's where the connection is because you know nobody understands me. So then, oh hey, look, there's a guy. Hey, I understand you. It's not your fault. It's her fault that you're not authentic. It's not your fault that you're not decisive. It's her fault that you're not decisive. It's her fault that you're not dominant. It's her fault. It's her fault. And then what a lot of young men do is they like you say they'll cling on to the cult leader that draws them in and says, guess what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to take away your name. We're going to take away your bloodline. We're going to take away your legacy. And we're going to say, follow me because I know what I'm talking about because I understand you. But we're going to sit around and have a circle jerk of complaining about women and then getting mad at women, being incels, blaming women, getting angry and bitter, but yet you want women. But then here's the problem. Okay, you go to YouTube, Scott, you listen to all that bad stuff. Like you say, the guys complaining with you. Those guys too, Scott, they see again, a woman. I don't even, Susan, whatever her name is. They see a woman, Sally, whatever. And then here's a second. Well, how do I talk to her? Because the person is so busy complaining about her, he never told me how to communicate, how to make her smile, how to make her laugh, how to make her blush, think, react, how to attract her to me without looking at my money, without looking at my clothes, without looking at my status, and without looking who I am. But then guess what? So that's the key of the code. So then he gets frustrated because he loses the girl. Then he goes back to the code leader and say, see, I told you women are bad. So it's just a constant circle of you using these poor young men for a bad, I won't say a greater good, a worse good, or a very bad, not a worse good.
Yeah, you know what? And all the people out there who are happy living their best life aren't here for the complaining.
Yeah.
They have nothing to complain about. They're not grabbing the mic. They're out there. They got something else better to do. You know,
Yes.
they're out there actually succeeding with women. So those are the people out there winning with women. And yet you have a lot of guys that are lost in the lurch here.
Yeah.
They really are thinking themselves, you know, I know better. I know I'm not supposed to feel bitter and angry towards women. I don't like how it feels. I'm not this guy. But I'm still left with nothing. You know, let's talk about, you know, the toxic masculinity bit.
Mm.
You don't hear about toxic masculinity much anymore because I think men finally rebelled against it. But the problem is still, what are we going to replace something toxic with? We were basically just told, sit down, shut up, stay in your lane. Well, what does that even mean? Become more like women, let the women take over. Because what happens is if you let women hijack masculinity from us, wait for it, they're not going to respect you and be attracted to you while they're trying to be the masculine one, because masculinity is what attracts femininity. If you're just like a neuter, like a mushroom over there, how can you expect to get anywhere with women? So guys are saying, wait a minute, I don't think I'm this terrible guy. I want to provide and protect, and I want to be a man. I want to lead, but I just don't know how. No one's offering me that information. You talked about how they've got you so that you're not going to get married. You're not going to pass on your name. You're not going to have any kids. You know, there's pressure on the birth rate, but I'm really amazed by what you said because I never stopped to think that the so-called gurus are part of this whole problem.
Yeah.
They're not part of the solution anymore. You and I are there trying to save families, help men have a legacy, have a son to throw a football to.
Yes.
That's real talk, man. That's life.
Yes. Yeah, I always say, Scott, a lot of these guys, they're Titanic's heading towards an iceberg called midlife crisis. And what they don't understand is that a lot of these guys are like back in the day when we were doing our thing, back in the day, they were that age. And right now they're going through what these young men are going to go through if they don't get to the right person to teach them the right information. See, Scott, I was never here to tell a woman to get married, not tell a guy to get married or not to get married, because it's not my plate. I have no right to tell a guy what to do. All I can do is give him the tools so he can think for himself.
Oh,
and that's the one thing that's the one thing you and I do.
Life in general.
Right. That's the thing that a lot of young men don't understand. You can't think. And that's why I always go to the fingerprint, because that's our marker to say there's nobody out there like me. But my whole thing is, if your fingerprint defines you, my whole thing is, then why don't you learn your language? I mean, why don't you learn who you are in this bubble called the internet, called women are bad, hypergamous, monkey branching, and all that BS that they spew on you, and realize that
I don't even know half of these terms. I don't dig that deep.
Yeah.
I just avoid it. Yeah.
It's bad. Well, because see, these young men, they want somebody to follow, but they've never been told it's okay to follow yourself by believing in yourself. But you can't believe in yourself if you believe that what was it, Chicken Little, that, that the sky is falling mentality, that, oh my God, we're going to say, some of these guys think if I meet a woman, I have to worry about family court. I'm like, what? Wait a second. Wait, what do you mean family court? Well,
you haven't even asked her out yet. You're already getting divorced and losing your entire fortune.
You're going to lose your fortune money. But here's the thing. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. So what are you actually losing? See, that's the thing they don't understand. See, these young men out here, It's okay. So a lot of the people, again, YouTube, what they want to do is they want to hire a lifestyle. They want to have all the women around them. They got the big yacht. They hire the airplane. They hire the cars. It was no different for you and I in the 80s when rap came around. That's what they would do. They would hire the mansions, the clothes, and the models and everything, and the jewelry, which was fake sometimes. But we thought it was real. But we were kids then. You said we were kids. But these are grown men today believing that women actually have a say-so in masculinity. They don't when you're a man. If you're not a man, she is going to run you. But here's the problem. That's the setup for the downfall, Scott. See, what you and I do is we open their eyes because they're still sleeping because you remember, Scott, they'll look at somebody, they'll look at their subscriber count first. They'll be like, wow, he's got a lot of followers. So I'll follow him. But what information we watching? We're watching a lot of people get around a bunch of women, Scott, and do what? Yell at women for what? Like what purpose does it serve to have a bunch of women talking men topics, listening to women, and then yelling at them and kicking them off the stage to make someone feel better about themselves?
Doesn't make much sense.
No.
All it does is, once again, it feeds a disease. You were talking about back in the days of rap. Man, how far have we come from like 1980 when the Sugar Hill Gang and Grandmaster Flash were bragging about having their own transportation. You don't have to ride the bus. Then, 7 years later, you got Cool Mo D standing in front of his Jeep.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford the Ferraris and the Lambos yet, but by the time Snoop Dogg came rolling around, okay, and we're making real money in that market.
Yeah.
Fun to go listen to that stuff. Men used to have a hard time slut-shaming women. Women didn't want to be slut-shamed. They honored their sexuality, and that made the dance special. It made sex not something as gratuitous if you were dealing with women who were, good women. I mean, you could say, all right, well, everybody's got a right to a sex life, and I could get with that. But one thing you said earlier was guys see women who dress like sluts and think, oh, she's the sexual one. So I have to go to a strip club to find a woman who will have sex with me. Meanwhile, it's the soccer mommies out there who are pent up and horny. They just want to be respected and appreciated. And a guy come actually care about who they are. And the next thing you know, you'll have all the sex you could ever handle with actually a decent, respectable woman. But guys, that seems like such a quaint notion nowadays to even consider that, because now you have women with OnlyFans accounts because the money's easy, and the women themselves have gotten over the whole slut shaming thing because, I mean, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to tell myself it's okay to be slutty nowadays. I could be a sex worker. I could be a porn girl because, my goodness, look at the money I'm making if I'm hot. And then they wonder why the guys don't respect them, why the guys are more sex focused than ever. You have women who have OnlyFans pages, and guys will hit up on them and they'll say, well, here, prove to me you want to date by paying $30 for my OnlyFans account. And if you like what you see after that, then let me know if you still want to date me. I mean, what has this world come to? That is not the premise for a relationship. And some guys are out there going, no, get off your couch, get off your DoorDash, go out in the real world, start meeting women, and you're going to see not only are there a lot of women who genuinely still want a real man, and if you show up for them, they'll be, things will be great. You'll be amazed at how precious and adorable women actually are compared to the rumors you've heard. But you'll also see how messed up this is for women and for men. Women have their own set of issues they're going to have to recover from with postmodernity, just like we are. How do we get back? How do we get that message out there? How do we, is there something new school that we've got to go get that's going to fix this? Or is the old school going to be the new school? What's the solution? Because I don't want to be another little bitch talking about problems. I want to give these guys solutions, man.
I look at everything as realities, okay? So I've always told guys, and I always teach them, okay, the reality that they're in right now, if we look at realities as bubbles, let's say the first reality. I always tell everybody the first reality we're in, that you and I are in, that we broke free of, but the first reality is built on education. Okay, as we come into this world, we're indoctrinated by our parents, our teachers, and our pastors. They teach us how to read, write, spell, do math, be a good person, to what? Learn how to what? Pay our bills. That's it. That is all because remember, we're being told how to think. We're told when to go to bed. We're told what we have to eat. We're told we have to wear. If you get in trouble, they take your phone away if you're older. So that reality was based on just paying your bills. That was the one I'll call the first reality, because that's why, you learn your religion from your parents, you learn your manners from your parents, and you learn studies, from your parents by how well they follow you around and doing your work. So that, I call that the first reality, the first bubble. But in that bubble does not teach you how to think for yourself, because it's an indoctrination. So it's a place where, women are our greatest consumers. So if women are our greatest consumers in that reality, they're going to make it about women. So a lot of young men are still stuck in what I call reality number one. You and I are free thinkers. Now, a free thinker creates his own reality. So we are separate from that. See, this, you were talking about earlier how a lot of guys are getting mad at you for what you were saying, because they're supposed to. Because if you're a free thinker outside of the bubble in a reality of free thinking, one who is always indoctrinated is going to follow indoctrination. That's where the YouTubes, the IG, Instagrams, and the TikToks come in, where these young men think that's the world. They think that there's no world outside of TikTok, Instagram, and IG. But when you're a free thinker, what we try to do is we try to pull these young men outside of that. Like you're saying, go outside your door. That's his own reality. But young men don't understand realities because they think that the reality that they're in is their forever. So they are indoctrinated, but then they take their past, they take their parents, they take their sadness and all this other stuff, and then they form a fact. Now it's a fact. It's not a truth. It's a fact. But sometimes they'll label those facts truth, but then they'll look for sources to reinforce the facts in that bubble. And that's why they constantly are looking for the next best thing. They're looking for the next best gimmick. They're looking for the next best lie, because they don't understand free thinking. And that's where you and I come in at. We can't save them all, Scott, but we can only save the ones that actually want to break free and realize that, yes, guess what? Women are allowed to be what they want to be. I can't stop a woman, nor can you stop a woman. We can't tell a woman what to do. And look, some women don't even listen to their fathers, so why would they listen to us? But when a woman notices your masculinity, okay, as a free thinker, that's where masculinity, authenticity, dominance, and what we call one of one outside of that that's what women will follow, because that's woven into the DNA. That's woven into, goes beyond, my looks, status, money, clothes, and all the other stuff. It is something that says that, you know what, this man is a dominant man, and he's bringing me into my femininity, not into masculinity. If you look at reality one, women are on top because that's how the world is working. That's why you have to buy the flowers, the trinkets, and all that other stuff, or the expensive meals in that reality. But as I said before, Scott, when you become a free thinker and you learn, when we teach, it is at that point they'll realize that, oh man, because Scott, I'm sure how many people, I get them all the time, man, I'm so pissed. I used to be red pill. I used to be in the manosphere, but you know what? I found you. And all this time, I couldn't believe it. You mean to tell me that all this time, these people were lying to me? Women are not bad. The world is not bad. It's just that I thought it was bad because I was treated bad and I really had nowhere else to go, man.
And they found someone who agreed with them, and they were off to the races with their bad thinking.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Steve, what are we doing? We're just sitting around here making sense. Go figure.
Yeah, always.
A lot of this stuff doesn't even make any sense.
Can't.
But we do.
Yeah.
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 And it's because we know who the hell we are. We figured this out. We know what works and what doesn't. And you know what? What has happened? Here we are, 20 years, into podcasting or more. And we've been consistent.
Consistently consistent.
You got guys out there who've completely changed their mindset on things because whatever the global big story out there right now is changed, so they changed with it. You talk about facts versus truth, sounds like Joe Biden. What is true? It doesn't even matter to people anymore. It's just, how do I get what I want? And if what I want is to be miserable, or if it's what I've told myself to be is to be miserable, then I'm going to tell myself that's what I want. Meanwhile, you have Ivy League institutions completely abandoning critical thinking,
Yeah.
punishing
Yeah.
people for thinking critically.
Right. Free
It's
thinking.
amazing. No, you're right on. Hey, this is an amazing conversation. We should do this more often. And one place you always have this conversation, week in, week out, is at the Man Mindset over on YouTube. Tell these guys a little bit about your show if they haven't caught up with you lately, Steve.
Yeah, well, okay. So, again, we started MP3 that time. Well, I mean, even before that, we were just putting stuff out. So, I've been doing this since the 90s, way before the 90s. I've been doing this a long time. But yeah, so we have a show now. We do several things. We do videos, we do YouTubes, and we go live. We have a live call-in show. So, but we cover everything under the sun that deals with men, but really what deals with you in the world of women. We don't make the game or anything about women. My job is to show you how to become a free thinker, how to think for yourself, how to love yourself, how to appreciate yourself, and realize that you have to be careful about who you listen to, because everything out there that's on the internet is not good for you. But I'm not here to, I always say I'm your uncle. We OGs, so they call me uncle now. Yeah, I'm uncle right now.
Me
I
too.
can't be your dad, right?
My 14-year-old daughter is my daughter, and she still calls me Unc. I go, no, I'm not your father's brother. I'm not once removed from your father. I am him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I'm everybody's uncle. But the thing is that we help men with everything. It doesn't matter. It's under the sun, because like Scott, you and I have been through it all. So it's relationship, marriage, breakups, women, sex, understanding, talking to women, how to live with women, how to move around women, it's everything under the sun. But one thing it is always about you learning who you are at the end of the day, and not making it about anybody else but you, and to free your mind and have you think for yourself. That's the main thing. That's, Scott, we've always been like that. And again, the days will change, the weeks will change, the months will change. But when you're authentic, we're going to continue to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, man. Just a couple months ago, I finally plugged in my brain and realized my album art should be more about what this show's about. Better men get better women.
Yes.
Masculinity attracts femininity. If you don't know what masculinity even is, how are you going to attract a woman, man? And if you're not a better man, what business do you have wanting a better woman? Yeah, so you're right on, man. You're right on.
It's not even attracting, but what are you going to do to move forward? Because
have some choice.
Right. Not only have some choice, but at the end of the day, gentlemen, you have to think about legacy, bloodline, and you've got to think about, listen, the one thing I always say, Scott, you guys out there better be glad that your parents didn't have YouTube back in the day, because you might not be here. Because the way they're talking right now, right? They're trying to take away. That's your birthright. Scott. We get to live on, and the sad day when we leave this planet, we get to live on through our our children, and that's what we're trying to tell you, young men out there. You are your ancestry. Don't cut your ancestry off because somebody on YouTube tells you that you can go to family court and lose all your rights and all the other stuff. That's the thing, Scott. It just
fear. Men aren't supposed to be pussies. We're not supposed to be so afraid.
Not at all.
We're supposed to be bold. We're supposed to go after what we really want instead of pushing it down and trying to pretend we don't, and finding a bunch of other guys who are in a sad state like us who will agree with us and make us feel better. It's like junk food, man. And what we're doing is we're handing over the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, but it had legacy, bloodline, but it's tough love. It's not sunshine and rainbows. It's a lot of these young men are in the Grand Canyon. And I need y'all to understand this. You can't be a doctor in a day. Scott can't teach you, and I can't teach you to be a doctor in a day. So it's a process. So the process is we've got to fill that hole the size of the Grand Canyon of all the bad information to get you to unlearn what you have learned to begin the process of learning. So, Scott, it's a process, and I know a lot of people want quick fixes, but that's how it works. And I've always been honest, and you had too, Scott. So many young men have buried themselves in such a deep hole that you have got to unlearn all that stuff to learn, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, we talk about legacy around here too, but we tread lightly because so many guys are like, legacy, like they're Jim Mora playoffs. I don't even have a girlfriend yet. I don't even know how to say hello to a woman. And you're talking about having a son and growing old together and making the world a better place together and being a team. I mean, that is like a bunch of chess moves away.
Right.
And that's sad because that used to be baked into our upbringing. That used to be what fathers passed down to their sons.
Yes.
And, first of all, not only do we need to be masculine men who are legacy thinkers, thinking like that, to attract a woman who will be a teammate, a partner with us like you and I found.
Yes.
I mean, gentlemen, don't listen to anybody who can't walk the talk. Don't listen to nobody without track record. First thing you got to say, I'm listening to someone, do I want to be like them? Because I've never met a MGTOW guy who's happy.
No.
I've never met a raging feminist woman who's happy. Maybe y'all better look in the mirror and realize how similar y'all are, right? You want to have some fulfillment. You want to have some joy in life. You want to have some meaning to your life.
Yes.
It can't be all about you and being selfish and your poor widow feelings and, not getting your way and throwing a tantrum. There's work to be done. And yet the work is extremely fulfilling. And we as men, that's what we do. We work. We find value in our work. And if we're sitting home Cheeto fingered because we don't even want to we don't have any ambition for our own lives, how can we have ambition for some relationship with a woman? Boom. I think that's it, man. You can go to YouTube, The Man Mindset, or you can go to mountaintoppodcast.com, Man Mindset, right? And it'll magically teleport you there. Hope you guys will all tune in because you know the motherfucking Dean is spitting real talk, and he does that on his own show. It's good stuff, man. I miss this, man. This is great. This is fun because, you're a voice of truth out there, and there's not a word you said today that I disagree with. It's great. Let's do this again.
We've always been clicking like this since you started. It's always been like that. Man.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man. And gentlemen, 500 episodes,
500.
I don't know if we got 500 more in us, but if we do, we're going to be here for it, and I'm not going to quit. Dean not going to quit.
No.
There's too much work to do, and we're men who work.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you all this stuff and then not do it ourselves.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, mountaintoppodcast.com. First of all, visit our sponsors. Talk about men on a mission who don't quit. Jocko Willink's company, Origin in Maine, sponsoring the show for 5 years. Hero Soap, got to clean up right. I know a lot of you guys out there are going to clean up well. If you are a man, look at this, man. Everyday carry device. This is not your grandfather's Swiss Army knife. You can modularize these things, put them all together. They even, have a flashlight built in. I have a can opener. I have a John Wayne can opener on mine. Dude, this is manly stuff. Thekeyport.com. They've sponsored our show. Use the coupon code MOUNTAIN10 with any of our sponsors. You'll get an extra 10% off. And while you're at mountaintoppodcast.com, listen, gentlemen, if you're not on my newsletter and you like what you've been hearing today, get the real talk, get the truth, get on this path to being a man who deserves what he wants so you have the right woman in your life for a change instead of some OnlyFans chick who just wants your money. Isn't that crazy? How the tables have turned. MountainTopPodcast.com, sign up for the newsletter, and I'll give you a free copy of my book, Sticking Points Solved. Gentlemen, after 500 episodes, I still wake up every morning to do this, thrilled, happy, and psyched because it's the mission we're on. Ain't that right, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Love it. Love it.
Absolutely. Happy to serve you guys. We want you guys to succeed with women because we know what that's like. We want you to have that reality in your life too. So, yeah, man, 500th show in the books. Once again, thank you, Steve, the Dean. Great to have you, man.
Thank you. Thank you much.
And until I talk to you again real soon, this is Scott McKay from X&Y Communications in San Antonio, Texas. Be good out there.
The Mountaintop Podcast is produced by X&Y Communications. All rights reserved worldwide. Be sure to visit www.mountaintoppodcast.com for show notes. And while you're there, sign up for the free X&Y Communications newsletter for men. This is Ed Roy Odom speaking for the Mountaintop Podcast.